mean we are looking for a very strong synergy in that top side with the melee solo laners coming in for this game too. But that does mean NIP is going to respond with something like the Elise, where she is going to be able to really fasten that tempo for the side of NIP. Maybe not. I'm sorry, I get baited all the time, and Jerry is going to go into the hands of NIP, because if they don't take it, we're going to see a repeat of game 1.
I mean, we still might, because the Elise is still up and available. Baited. Yeah, I know. Imagine talking about hovers. Couldn't be me. But it is going to be the Elise locked in here. And again, XLB, he's got to be proactive. This is a very early skirmishing jungler that, in the right hands, can do very well. But we have seen of later, basically of recent patch days, it has had issues with trying to, end out the games, of trying to, sort out where, kind of where you're going to go after the 15-20 minute mark. And something like the Sejuani with the Samira is definitely going to be something to be. I think you just pick in your support here, Leona, Nautilus, get that here onto PP God, so you have that hard engage and you just go straight in for these fights.
OMG, oh, they hovered the Nautilus, but Yone is going to get banned, going to get locked in for the side of Creme, which is his most played in the LPL so far, and I definitely think this paired up with the Sejuani, it is just OMG's comforts, even the Samira getting locked in, right? But NIP gonna lock in that Lux, or at least hover it, but I don't think Lux Caitlyn is gonna do too hard into Samira, because you do have that wall available.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the Blade World to be able to kind of block out a lot of that engage. You don't really need it. It's a pretty long cooldown, but you don't really need it in terms of after the cocoon and the light binding go away. So very strong bot lane combination coming in here, but you haven't locked in your solo laners here for NIP, so we could see a couple of things banned away by OMG to make sure that Yone has a good time. It could technically flex up into that top side for Shanji as well, so that's definitely still on the board, but really, really interesting to see now. Honestly, I think it's got to be Nautilus and Leona banned away by NIP. I don't really have a choice right now. If you let OMG just have that for free, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, we've also seen a lot of flex picks towards this bottom lane, where we've also seen the Jarvan support come out of, I believe it was G2 just cooking something up in that kitchen, but a lot of viable supports paired alongside Samira, where I think this is just going to be, at least early on, a hard winning lane for the side of OMG. But like, once again, Invincible trying to get that counter pick up against Shanji for this game too, where I am hoping that we see something like the Fear or the Gwen, because Shanji, I mean, he looked amazing on the Cassante as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty to be kind of working here now, and you can see already OMG saying, look, we're going to be able to take something that will facilitate in the backside, maybe even go for, I was going to say the Rumble, but the NIP thinking very similar things and kind of saying we can take that one away. I'm going to throw it out there. This Shyvana might not be a terrible thing to come into here. You can go slightly AP. No. It could be slightly AP. I don't know, man. Shanji, I'm going to say, hold up and let him cook, like let him do his thing.
Let's flip the coin. Let's flip the coin. I'm going Udyr top and you're going Shyvana top for this game too. Is that correct?
100%. I'm down for it. I'm gonna say Shyvana top for Shanji, as you can see where they kind of go for it. Gwen locked away here by OMG. You can see the smiles on their face as well. They're just kind of honestly just knocking down Invincible's champion pool. So now you're going into possibly a Yone top. Or sorry, Yone mid, excuse me. As we can see now, the Tristana being picked up here feels a little bit strange. It would be very strong into something like the Yone, but you don't know that that's exactly what you're going into.
A lot of lane parity for the side of NIP for this game too, but I'm so sorry to tell you, Oshin, that with this Gwen getting banned away, it does mean it's going to be a tank versus top, but Lillia gets locked in up against a Sion.
I forgot about the Lillia coming in here. So I will say you get a hell of a lot of percentage health damage. You get some great engage tools as well to combo in with the Sejuani, and with the kind of melee setup you've got for yourself, you all want to go in. They are going all in. Rell, Samira, bot lane. Look at this comp and tell me how you cannot love this team of OMG.
Look, caffeine isn't keeping me awake, but OMG's Game 2 draft is definitely keeping me awake. But NIP going for something that is a lot more traditional compared to what OMG is going to try pull off for this Game 2. Tristana going to get hovered once again, but this time it's going to be a lot easier to execute. You have the Elise, you have the Sion, who does have amazing CC when it does come to those team fights. I mean, even with the Caitlyn and Lux and Tristana, a lot of lane parity for this Game 2.
Yes, I think right now you're looking at this team from OMG and you're saying it's all team fight all the time. But for NIP, they've got a beefy front line. The Sion, like you mentioned, and if they can get these single target CCs out, the cocoon, the light binding onto a trap or something like that, you are in such a great position here for NIP to pick people off. Will Abel be even you know, be able to actually get his big, you know, devil trigger off. That's the big question here. The major sleeps as well. It's all about keeping you at an arm's distance for NIP, but for OMG, it doesn't matter what we pick. We just want to have fun. But NIP, plenty of power to try and strike back. We have seen in the LPL just how oppressive a Tristana mid can be. We've seen it specifically more so into the castle than the Yone, so curious to see how that one works. But we are jumping onto the rift as the Gyos do roar. And everyone starts to figure out what they want to try and do here. As a little bit of a push here into this brush. They actually really think someone's going to go ahead and check this. And honestly, it's not a bad idea considering, you know, you don't necessarily win the level 1, but if you catch somebody out, you definitely do.
It would be definitely very worth, but with the sound in the hands of NIP, I mean, level 1, if the sound is able to land a nasty CC onto OMG, double ignite from the bot lane from Samira and Rell, which is pretty surprising. I mean, you don't want something like the cleanse where NIP has so much CC. Very, very daunting choice for at least game 2, but, you know, let them cook once again because they are definitely surprising us all.
It's our phrase of the series, let them cook. Let them just do it. They had a standard drag from OMG. They're now coming in with a little bit more fun. I'm actually so curious because, look, when I think of Samira, I think the #1 thing that you have to put in is an exhaust. You need an exhaust on your team to deal with a Samira. That is not available for NIP in any way, shape, or form. So if this Samira is able to get off with an Inferno trigger, you are just going to be in a much worse position to try and deal with that later on in the game.
Look, a fighting case for NIP. Who needs his exhaust when the ADC of OMG is just going to get CC'd and die in these team fights? But obviously, that is going to really depend on how Sion plays these team fights. But looking at the lane states, I mean, I'm just expecting the Caitlyn and Lux and Tristana to provide so much priority for this Elise to do whatever she wants in the enemy team jungle. I mean, we are expecting tower dives. We are expecting aggressive plays from the side of NIP. But Shanji already taking over this top lane with his counter pick Lillia.
Yeah, as much as the Lillia isn't exceptional, I'm going to stop myself there. Level 2 does get hit here in the bot side, and already a blade roll just gets come out. As Abel just dancing around these skill shots really, really nicely. But I know we were saying that the Lillia not in the strongest of positions in the laning phase, or in the top lane, I should say. But definitely the Sion needs time to build up that passive. As we can see now, PP God with Aki looking to try and make something happen. XLB throws his head into that top side jungle to see if he can maybe find somebody, but nobody's moved forward just yet. The wave is pushing against. Action. Yeah, they are pushing in. XLB has been spotted, and now we're going to see Abel taking a fair bit of chunk as they go straight in. Zhuo going to have to be forced to flash away. Does land the light binding, but with the cocoon landing on top of that one as well. Repel goes up. PP God not going to be taking any more damage, but Flash was burned by Aki.
A flash for Flash, but that does leave OMG's bot lane very low in terms of HP. Does wall off the Lux Q, which could have been very bad for the side of OMG, but I'm... You know, NIP walking out of that play pretty happy as they regain that lane party. And Shanji once again just dancing under the tier 1 tower of Invincible. Perhaps even proxying. I mean, you did see the Elise on the other side of the map, so he is just having a lot of freedom in this early game. But it is nice to see that NIP is aggressive and that Xiaolongbao is being very proactive on this Elise.
Yeah, and definitely trying to be going toe-to-toe here with the Sejuani. Nice to see it there. And again, the single target CC, we've mentioned it a couple of times, is that this light binding and the cocoon is incredibly powerful. You need to be so careful as Pout. It's a very unfortunate trade there. Creme still has a lot to do here as Aki finds himself in towards this mid lane. They may look to try and burn a flash here, but just going to burn the rocket jump as Creme just keeps farming himself up. And that's all you want to do right now, is just get Creme up to this level 6, get that fate sealed so he's able to get that kill pressure down.
Yeah, I think OMG, the mid jungle, is definitely something to look out for as well. I think with Aki pairing alongside Creme, they have amazing synergy when it does come to the Sejuani being locked in for this game too, where Creme's champion pool works beautifully alongside Sejuani. We've already seen this Yone being picked multiple times. I believe his 6th game for LPL this season, and we already see him getting so much lane party up against something like Tristana, where melee versus range, you don't expect that very often.
No, not really. But, you know, it depends on how the game goes. Of course, it depends on how, you know, cautious you want to play. We did see an early back from Shanji as he went back and picked himself up a little bit of a amplifying tone. Invincible's probably going to have to flash here because he is almost certainly going to die. I don't think he can. He's just going to get rolled down here. The Cavalier has arrived. And that is just going to be so damaging now for Invincible in this top side. You really don't want to be giving over early kills like that.
I mean, Invincible does have that flash available. Even spotted on the ward as Aki was entering through the river, but he was just way too pushed as the lane was already, you know, the wave was already in a good state, but unfortunately the kill does go towards Shanji on this Lillia, where that's exactly what you're looking for on a champion that is going to pop up with those item spikes.
And again, it goes back to the priority that we talked about in terms of the jungle priority for OMG. The Sejuani just opens up so many avenues, and we've seen it. It's interesting because normally it's the Elise you would look at and say, okay, the Elise is the one that's going to be getting off all these ganks. And in fairness to XLB, he has been, but it has definitely been Aki who's getting the most momentum out of it at the moment. We will see maybe a 4-man dive in this bot side. Will be difficult to execute. There's the Blade Whirl basically blocking everything. They will get the stun back out on the Pow, who has to flash away. They try to go up, but what goes up must come back down. Zhuo picks it up with the light singularity, and they do make it work, but they have to use a hell of a lot to get it done.
That was probably one of the messiest dives I've ever seen in LPL, because we just had everyone tanking a bit of the tower. I mean, Xiaolongbao does try to go in and get the execution, but he just doesn't have the damage, where Pout starts everything off with ulting able into a Caitlyn trap, but the tower aggro was just everywhere, where Photic nearly died as a result of that. We're going to see another 4-man dive from NIP, where look at this Tristana ultimate right onto the Caitlyn trap, which is really nice combo, but you just don't have a wave, and they engage it a little bit too early, where Xiaolongbao just ends up taking 2 shots, not being able to finish off Abel. I mean, even the Lux had to come in and get that kill onto Abel, but it did end up being a 1-for-0 trade, but it was still very messy, and I'm getting worried for NIP.
Yeah, it's scrappy at best, I think is the best way we can put it. As you can see, Shanji back in the top side, but all the solo laners picking up their level 6s, so might be seeing some lilting lullabies comboed in with the Fate Sealed, as won't be having any misfortune shenanigans with that. To those who don't know, it's completely irrelevant to this game, but the misfortune ult does not proc the sleeps. You can just continuously do it, and they will not wake up from it. It's a bit silly. It's one of my favorite combinations.
Silly is OMG's game.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a silly goose energy coming in that serious geeks just don't appreciate on the timeline. But now we'll see what they want to try and maybe make work here, as we have had some very early action for both these sides. It hasn't led into any kind of significant advantages just yet. I will say Creme has been doing fantastic in this mid lane. You mentioned it earlier, the melee versus range still coming out on top, and light bindings and cocoons just to make sure there's going to be the glacial prison. Does force the flash out of Zhuo, who cannot get followed up here. PP got just a little bit too slow, but now without that summoner available, you don't really have priority around this dragon, so this could be a first straight coming out here for OMG.
Yeah, Creme consistently just pressuring Pout on this Tristana in the middle lane, so Aki getting to do whatever he wants, does throw out the ultimate to burn the Lux flash, but they do regain control of this bottom side, because OMG Abel, he is just controlling the bottom side up against something like the Caitlyn and Lux.
Well, Photic with level 2 boots has got plenty of speed without any boots being built up onto Abel. So with the range and the speed available, XLB gets jumped on here, should just be able to go to repel. So you can see Aki not willing to fully engage onto that. The cocoon does land, and a fair bit of damage gets traded back. XLB, not a huge amount of mana on him. You can see with those minions kind of pushing in, he needs to be very careful with that health bar. So lots of tentative moves here. As you can see, they want to try and get priority in this mid lane. Creme going to be using that Soul Unbound. Just get a nice little cheeky knockback onto Pout, just to make sure that he's not able to keep that wave away from the tower, and everyone just backs away. Inferno Trigger should be available very soon alongside that Magnet Storm, and that's the big combination we're going to be looking for. Without summoners in this bot side, it's going to be very difficult for them to go for, but that's a huge wave. I just realized that there. There's like 20 minions.
Like three waves stacked up against each other, but like you said, Rell getting her ultimate online is going to be a huge spike for the side of OMG, as this dragon is getting threatened by both junglers. And we need to mention to the audience that Zhuo had to burn that flash early on in the game, where Xiaolongbao also traded his much earlier as well, but if OMG is able to play with these ultimates like the Sejuani and the Rell, I mean, it's very straightforward, and I think it's a lot easier to execute compared to something like NIP, where they have to play with the range and depending on Zhuo to land that Q as Lux.
Well, Glacial Prison is back. Flash is not. PP God with the Magnet Storm going to be moving in on the bot side and just clearing out this ward. As both junglers find themselves in this bot side. TP available for Invincible. Should they really go for a big dive in the bot side? It's the Blade Whirl used there by Able to make sure he's able to keep going. They're going to look for it in blind. They will find it. Zhuo trying to see if he can keep himself alive, but with XLB in the back pocket. You have to get the flash out of Able, so not able to get the kill, not able to get anything else out of it, and actually it's NIP with a great response.
A flash for the heal out of Lux. I mean, it does seem very worth for the side of NIP now, but just look at the priority that Creme is able to show in this mid lane. Xiaolongbao, although in the Elise, he wants to get something done, but it is going to be tough if the Yone is going to have first mood every single bot lane play.
We'll see now more pressure in this top side. Invincible taking a fair chunk. One more whack at the Shillelagh should be about half his HP. That's what it's called. It's a Shillelagh.
Why is that word so goofy?
Are you insulting Irish culture right now, Kitty?
Wait, what? Oh,
Shillelaghs are Irish.
Oh no!
It's a type of like a club almost. It's a it's an old school kind of thing. Used to be used in schools here a lot. It wasn't great. Yeah, back in the good old days for certain people. But we'll get out of that deep dark timeline. We'll come back into live and we'll go see that the dragon has been secured by NIP. It does come with the natural territory of being so heavily prioritized in that bot side, but not to be outdone, Aki will be picking himself up a Rift Herald up in that top lane. So kind of utilizing both strengths for both teams. NIP utilizing that bot side strength, while as OMG recognizing that top lane and mid lane is where they're going to be the strongest on this map.
Yeah, these two major objectives are going to just get traded by both teams, but once again, Oshin, I need to highlight that Xiaolongbao on this Elise, only 1 assist at 12 minutes. Very concerning, especially when you are up against something like the Sejuani and Yone that are just going to excel at team fighting. When you do need to be looking for those early picks, as you do have the Tristana and Caitlyn. How getting a little bit poor here.
This should be fine, but we can see it already, little by little. This Creme Yone is starting to get bigger and bigger and harder to deal with. We will see the wave being crashed again in this bot side. Should just be a plate or two secured again, so more and more priority coming in. The Samira will struggle into a lot of these matchups, unfortunately, but once those team fights come in,
that's all.
They do land it. The Fate Seal, do they have enough from Pout to be able to get away from this one here? Yes, he does, but a flash from Aki makes sure he can get the kill. He will, however, have to give up his own life, as a flash from XLB does secure the cocoon. Now they try and go in on the spot side. The Magnet Storm comes in. PP God trying to see if he can make this one work. They will get the Blade Whirl to stop him from going down, but flash for flashes all across the map. Summoners being used.
I mean, just a really good ultimate from the side of Aki to start everything off, but PP God is extremely low as Photic does want to eat some more tower plates, potentially even getting a pick onto the side of OMG, so Aki needs to run straight bottom lane if they want to protect this tower.
Got another plate here for the side of the NIP bot lane. It's what you have to do here as the Caitlyn Lux combination. You will see just constantly throwing out those W's, the 90 caliber nets to make sure you're safe, and of course the Qs from the Caitlyn just make it so hard to really deal with this. And now that they know that the Sejuani is nowhere near this bot side, they can continue kind of putting down this pressure. It's a 30 CS lead, and it's not going to get any better. Alongside those 4 plates, this Photic Caitlyn's going to be pretty huge coming into this mid game.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the CS lead, it's quite literally going to be Creme versus Photic in these team fights, but with Tristana being this behind, I mean, 20 CS already, where the Herald also get dropped mid. Sejuani, however, did pick up that kill earlier, so it's not too bad as Pal was able to buffer it, but you never want your Tristana behind because she's just not going to offer as much compared to a Yone that is going to land that CC ultimate.
It's going to be the bot lane turret secured. Won't be all the plates, but definitely a fair chunk of them. Despite all this pressure in the bot side, despite the deficit of 35 CS, maybe only 30 after this wave, it's still a gold kind of, you know, parity right now. Both teams happy to sit where they are, having with their advantages going. You will actually have an interesting build coming out here from the top lane of Shanji, not going for the Leandri's Torment, immediately to the Rod of Ages, wants to be tankier, wants to be able to maybe get up to that level 16 Lilting Lullaby a little bit earlier than you would expect. And that's a curious little setup now for the side of OMG. They're going to be having a lot more frontline priority with this, you know, kind of Sejuani Lillia combination.
Aki is just going to E away as he secures a Soda Crab for this Herald that is going to be in 2 minutes. But once again, I mean, OMG, this entire composition is so dependent on their flash timers. Something like the Flash Lullaby or the Flash Rell ultimate can get the ball rolling for the side of OMG, as Samira is able to follow up with her ultimate, and Creme even having a lot of range with that ulti as well. But NIP, they have a lot of range in terms of the AD carries that they have in this team composition, and they need to position correctly. I mean, you do have a cleanse on Caitlyn, but if that does ever get burned, you just have so much follow-up CC from the side of OMG. So although Photic does have that gold lead right now, I mean, you're up against something that is going to be the Yone and Sejuani in these team fights.
He caught him! He caught him off the side of it. He's going to have to use that, and that's going to mean immediately we're seeing a fight in that mid lane. Abel tries to go forward and immediately has to retreat. The Wolves are deciding to join in on this fight. PP God won't be going down just yet. But again and again, we're seeing the side of OMG try to get something to work here in this bot side. They are going to see the ultimate come out. PP God, being a bro, making sure that ace in the hole does nothing more than just delay the backs. But already we're seeing the power that this Lux Caitlyn can have. Just so much disengage, so many ways of stopping you from making what you want to happen.
That does mean Photic trades the cleanse out of that team fight, although Abel, you know, obviously missing out a wave in that middle lane, and they're going to gain priority for the side of NIP for this second dragon that is going to be spawning in 3 seconds. But just look at the item differential between these carries. As Samira doesn't have that Mortal Shield Bow available just quite yet. And I'm getting a little bit confused because we did see the double ignite coming out of Abel, but I don't think he's used it once.
Don't think we've seen the combination come out, that's for sure. As we can see now, priority around this dragon going to be the next bit of contention. As Aki just taking a hell of a lot of damage. No Night Harvester yet for XLB. So he's not quite at a big power spike that you would hope for he would be at. There is a good ward here for NIP as they look to try and gain control. We didn't see a kill on that bot side. Pout did get Creme away from him, but Creme has a 30 CS lead now in that mid lane. So really, really powerful here on this Yone. Fate Seal has been backed up and available. Pout doesn't have flash, but should have it in a couple of seconds. Now, Kitty, looking at the way the map is set up right now, I feel like it's going to be hard for OMG to really make this one work, especially with no flash on Abel.
But you have so many flashes available on the rest of your team. Shanji, Aki, and even PP God. If they get into a choke and they opt into the correct fight,
they're going in. The spider goes up. It must come down. XLB almost goes down. They will not get the kill of it. There's the lilting Lullaby. He will get hit, though, straight away. Abel not able to finish him off, though, as either Shanji is in a lot of bad trouble. XLB just survives off the skin of his team right now. Invincible being just that, just a walking meat shield in front of everybody of NIP, and XLB had no right to survive that.
XLB survived 3 CCs from the side of OMG, the Rell ultimate, the Lillia ultimate, and the Sej. I mean, he just walks away scratch-free. Although this dragon, I mean, it wasn't touched, but it does seem like NIP is going to grab this second dragon into their pockets. I mean, OMG complete L with that team fight. You burnt so much onto the jungler, and they weren't able to get a single kill.
I mean, you could see what they wanted to do, OMG. They saw that XLB was so low, they could have maybe made something work, but not getting that Q off, I think it was the flare from the Samira, just really hurt them in that regard, because it meant they didn't get the Elise, they weren't able to reset the fight, and they used so much as well to try and make it happen.
Yeah, XLB did get away as he didn't even need to burn flash. He kind of just walked away, but I believe someone also tried to, I believe it was the Lillia, Shanji was trying to catch up on that kill, but there was just a really beautiful cocoon that stopped him from that as well. Health does go into the hands of OMG, however, so they are trying to look to get at least some towers down. As we look at the outers, mid and bottom have been taken down from this Caitlyn pick. I mean, a lot of value from Photic in this game too.
I mean, he's already got himself a rapid fire cannon. He's a full item ahead of the rest of honestly, almost over the rest of the team. Shanji does finish up his demonic embrace, so he's going to be able to do some percentage health damage, which is going to be nice for him. But Abel very much not having a great time right now. And this is why we don't really see the Samira a lot now. Abel's going to have to try and really make this one kind of prove to itself why it needs to be banned, because sometimes it's not meta because it's not meta. There's no real else to kind of put it right there, because it does feel like sometimes it does get a little bit too much respect. And we'll see now Pout moving moving forward. We'll get the lilting lullaby and get the ultimate off
Photic's
as
here.
well. So we're going to see the rest of OMG, or sorry, rest of NIP come in here to try and make this one work. Shanji's got a fair bit of health as Photic has already used the Gale Force, and Shanji looking to try and maybe trade this one back, but he shall not do it. That's going to be a shutdown going over to the Caitlyn. And while that's been happening, nothing really to be traded back here for the side of OMG. They will eventually get that top tier 1, but I feel like they were going to get that anyway.
Yeah, a little bit of a miss, I guess, timing from the side of OMG as the Lillia tries to go in for that 1v1 up against Tristana, but without the Baron being spawning, I believe it was 5 seconds away from being available on the map. The entire side of NIP just rotated towards this bottom play, and they were able to get the 1-for-0 trade. Although the top lane has finally been opened up by Creme, I really feel like this game 2 is all up to Creme and how he gets his hands onto the carries of NIP for these team fights.
I love this pickup as well from Invincible right now. He's gone for the Abyssal Mask first, so does look a bit different. Hasn't been picked up in quite a while. Just built from Catalyst of Aeons and the Spectre's Cow, so gives them nice trading potential in that top side, but also kind of sets up the Elise a little bit as well by reducing that magic resistance. So really, really nice little setup there for him, and to keep his Elise relevant in these mid to late game team fights. Shirley gets dropped down into that mid lane. She'll be able to open up that tower. So the gold's still pretty much dead even as we hit the 21-minute mark. Here we go. We're going to have the Magnus Storm coming in here. PP God. You don't have the follow-up there, man. You need the Inferno trigger with able to make that one work, and that just feels like a really overzealous coming out here from OMG support.
PP God, that's NIP's jungle. What are you doing, little bro? Go back to your one. There's no vision either. Why are you even getting caught there? I mean, the flash does come back after he dies, but that is a very unnecessary death from the support of OMG, and it does allow NIP to regain that vision control. I mean, they have double ADCs. They can just start the Baron if they get another pick.
I mean, they might start the Baron anyway. They are looking at it, but not starting it just yet. XLB down to half HP would be difficult for him to really survive any kind of engage should he get caught out. But right now, it is feeling like they are building up a little bit more power than the side of OMG. I will say Creme has done exceptionally well, has himself a 40 CS lead over his opposite number. So it's kind of Creme versus Photic right now. If Photic gets caught out by this Yone, Photic will die straight away. However, if he's able to keep him at arm's length, get him, kind of a couple of auto attacks down, that's where this, Caitlyn will just start to shine so much brighter than anything else on OMG can.
Yep, with the Flash and Gale Force available, he is going to be able to make a lot of space between the carries of OMG, but all OMG needs is to land those AoE ultimates onto the backline of NIP and Able trying to get some resets in the teamfight, and that's going to get rolling for the side of OMG. I mean, they just have such an amazing 5v5 composition, but if you're getting caught one by one, we already see the lead slowly going to the hands of NIP. Although the goal isn't too bad, the map state is looking a little bit hard for OMG to face check this.
It's getting harder and harder. 2 dragons to the good. It is a Cloud Soul. It's pretty good for someone like a Sion or even a Lux, to be perfectly honest. Able to kind of reposition you after you are left standing idle. 10 seconds till that spawns. And this does lean into what OMG want. However, you're still only on 1.5 items here for your AD carry. That Inferno trigger, not the greatest of all. As we do see the ultimate getting thrown here by Aki. Repel goes up and nobody comes back down. So you already lost a big pick potential now available to you. You didn't lose any summoners, and we're still waiting for any kind of, moment here for OMG to really make this fight work.
Caitlyn already getting that mid lane wave in, but face checking into something like the Sion, it's just so incredibly hard for OMG. This is going to be the Dragon
Shanji.
Soul point for an IP. Creme.
Maybe looking for a flank. They're going to see the ultimate from the Sion being used here. They're going to be massive CC there on the backside as Creme can't get anything done. There's the Inferno triggers. You can see Able trying to make something work for his team, but the rest of NIP have flashed back in onto the river. Shanji cannot get any more work done. It's 4 for 1, and that was just really well played there by Invincible, just pushing himself forward, knowing no one could stop him.
NIP playing the perfect front to back as Photic saving that double summoners even after this third dragon fight. And Able, I mean, it seemed like he was gonna pop off, but he was just on the other side of the wall, the wrong side of the wall, and the rest of OMG got slaughtered by NIP in this team fight. We need to see this huge ultimate that started everything, where Invincible landed it onto both PP God and Creme. Although the Lux ult goes wide, but the follow-up from NIP where Pal and Photic are just safe putting DPSing over the wall. This was the perfect fight that NIP NIP could have opted into.
I mean, you can see as well, Abel does do significant damage in fairness to him, but only being 1.5 items, it's just not going to be enough. And Shanji just really not able to make anything work there. The health bars do go fairly low on the side of NIP, but when you're not able to combo up correctly, it's so difficult for OMG to really get anything to stick.
And when Photic is ahead, NIP is ahead. When NIP is ahead, they don't throw. 3 dragons. Baron is also now available on the map, where face checking once again into something like the Elise and Sion is going to be extremely impossible. And now with Shanji and Abel not having that flash available, I mean, OMG, they're feeling a little bit desperate with these composition, to say the least.
Quirky's a nice way to put it. Does leave them a lot to think about coming in now. You've got a Lord Dominic's Regard coming out right now for Photic, so he's just so far ahead. 3-0 and 3, really making it all about him. And we have said this multiple times, it is the Photic show, and looks like he's going to try and make this the final blow, the last bow, if you will, as they do end up trying to see if this Baron is being taken. That's being shredded. You mentioned it earlier. They got double AD carry. They can go for this, no problem whatsoever. They're going to try and get PP God in here. Aki looking for it. They're going to try and maybe swap it over. They're going to look for it. Stolen! Taken away. OMG get themselves the kill. And the Fate Seal lands on the show as well. Looking for Photic. He finds it as well in the blink of an eye. NIP had everything and now they have nothing.
The game completely flips around. NIP starts the Baron, I believe 3k HP, and Aki just stole it under broad daylight away from NIP, even getting 2 kills onto the side of Creme where they traded for Abel. But this game completely flips around where NIP just threw the entire game.
They flipped the Baron, and you can see the call was just so separated right now. We're going to get a replay in a second, but that doesn't just lead to kills. It leads to gold. It leads to control around the map, and it leads to so much more than what you were really hoping for here as NIP. You had an opportunity, and they might lose it again. They're going to look to try and take out Invincible. They're not quite done yet, Kitty. They will take him out. This Yone is online and is disgustingly powerful.
I absolutely casted this by saying NIP never throws, but Photic just finished off the Baron. I mean, Aki was just getting onto Photic where Pout was just struggling to get this to 1k HP. Aki throws the ultimate onto the ADC, flashes in and secures Baron, where Creme flashes in onto the ADC of NIP, and that is your main DPS gone from the team fight. I mean, just the amount of range that OMG had in this team fight after cleaning up. You already have the Baron. You would be more happy to take some kills as well.
I mean, yes, Abel dies there. He's technically 0 and 2 now, but he did his job. He brought down so much of that health bar from NIP's bot lane and just kept them distracted, kept them away from the Baron pit and the fight that was happening afterwards. So really well done from him. And excuse me, I had to sneeze right there as we come back into live. Thank you. Coming back into live, you have a Bloodthirster now onto Creme. It's so hard to kill off this guy right now. The Infinity Edge has been finished up for Abel. Yes, your Caitlyn is still huge, but you're looking at all these different items being picked up for the solo laners of OMG, and they're just happy to kind of say, cool, if we get on top of you, you're dead.
Yeah, both team compositions just thrive on vision control, and you don't want to be face checking as either sides. But now OMG in the driver's position, they are pressuring both mid and bottom lane as this dragon is spawning 1.
Oh, okay. Didn't expect him to go fully in on that, and he doesn't even lose any HP because of it. So securing that tier 2 in the bot side does mean they have priority over this dragon in the next minute or so. PP God having a level 11 is significant as well, getting that Magnet Force. Or Magnet Storm, I should say, getting it nicely set up for himself. But yeah, this is a tough position now for Photic. It has to be him. We talked about it so many times where it is just the Photic show. It is more so him than ever before because Pout's gone towards a QSS because he doesn't have a cleanse in his inventory either.
Yep, most definitely. And Shanji is just going to be pressuring that top side where I believe this top lane matchup nearly a Flame Horizon. About 30 CS off, but this third dragon, I mean, it is going to get denied from the side of NIP because of the terrible map state after that Baron throw. But like we've been saying, OMG, once they get that pick into the team fights where they get to engage first, I mean, this Samira is going to have a banger of a time.
And it's got to come down to this dragon. The thing for NIP is you do not have to fight this. You can let this go. You have 3 dragons. It's not that big of a deal. Get yourselves back up to some item parity. And we have seen some late game Caitlyn's where they have 3-4 items or even full builds, and they are one-shotting people in the backside. So it is very much a point where NIP are not out of this game just yet. Yes, they are behind by 4,000 gold, but the game is not over for the moment. They have plenty of options available to them. They just got to be very aware that the longer they wait, the more Abel is crawling back into this, and the Samira is still very, very scary.
Yeah, but I think Invincible just needs to be on peeling duty now because of OMG's just pure mobility to get their hands onto Photic. Even with the Flash and Gale Force available, I just think when you are up against something like the Yone, your ADC is so fragile in these team fights, and Invincible, he is going to need to play a very big role in this next up-and-coming fight as OMG, I mean, Shanji is now level 18.
3 levels ahead of Invincible. Maybe only 2 if Invincible picked up the next wave or so, but still. Invincible's a hell of a long way away from being in a spot to be able to contest that. And again, Shanji's build has just been Rod of Ages for a little bit of AP alongside the Demonic Embrace, and then after that, it's deal with Caitlyn and the Tristana. It's nothing to do with this Elise. He does not care about XLB because he's got the health bar with that Rod of Ages to be able to kind of soak up any of that AP damage. So really, really smart building coming out from Shanji. He finally finishes up that Frozen Heart, and it's getting harder and harder to see how NIP are able to take a fight. They need Invincible to be able to get in without anyone else being exposed to that, kind of side lane flank from the solo laners.
Yeah, especially, Creme going in.
He's going in because he knows he can take this fight. Photic has to flash, and all it cost was his fate seal, but look how short that cooldown is. It's flying
40
around.
seconds? He's gonna get his ultimate back in 40 seconds, and that is the ADC's flash gone from NIP. I mean, this Yone is so extremely strong in the side lane. This Tristana can never match unless you get the help from a level 13 Elise. But 30 minutes, this Elise pick is what is going to be the, I guess, I'm not going to say it, but is going to be the reason why NIP is going to struggle in these 5v5s, because you are trying to play for those early games, but now you've reached the late game. Sejuani and Yone are going to take over the game.
I mean, yeah, like you got to cleanse now on Photic. Technically, you have a redemption as well, but not exactly the quickest of things to be helping you out right now. He is full crit right now, so he's going to be very, very powerful with those headshots, but with the Baron spawning in a couple of seconds, you can see NIP, they have no real control over this river. They're trying their best as a 4-man to move forward, gain something there. Mercurial Scimitar finished up for Creme. Very rare we actually see that item being finished up these days, but having that extra little bit of AD is significant. There's going to be the ultimate for the Lux just to check if they're starting it there. They know it's there as Aki goes over the side of the wall. Gets the Glacial Prison down onto XLB, but doesn't really have any follow-up to go with it. They do get the Soul Unbound from Creme, but no one can really follow up. It's a bit disconnected from OMG, and NIP stands strong.
OMG just trying to dance around this Baron, trying to bait NIP into a visionless Baron, but Creme trying to just get his hands onto the back line of NIP. Shanji has a really good angle.
They're looking for it. Here we go. The ulting lullaby comes out, but everybody tries to cleanse it away. They will kill off Shanji because look at where these AD carries are. No one's really dealing with Pout or Photic as Aki has to flash away. If he dies, that could be the bar. Fate sealed will hit nobody. There's the Madness Storm. The Inferno trigger gets cancelled. Pout with the beautiful ultimate on the Tristana, and they should be able to kill this one off as well. With everybody falling so scattered around, this could be the game.
NIP plays that teamfight perfectly. They space OMG's entire composition where Pout also perfectly cancels Abel's
They're going
ultimate.
for it.
This just seems like NIP's second win.
This could be it. NIP looking like they could be getting themselves a win right now. It is only 2 people left up. 20 seconds still Shanji. You've got Aki and Creme. What can you do right now? Fate Sealed not available for the moment. The Soul has been unbound for the moment. They get rid of the minions. Aki doing as best he can. He will fall, but he does his job. He stops the dragon, or the Nexus turrets from falling just for the moment. Now you have PP God. Set 4 seconds till Shanji comes back. You can see OMG, they're in desperation stations. Invincible is just that. He's just tanking for eternity right now on this tower as they finally take down the second Nexus turret. The Nexus is in their sights. 2 seconds till Abel is available, and they look for the Fate Seal. They go in. They're looking to try and end this one off. There's one more kill. There's 2. Abel with the Inferno trigger, and you will not end this game.
They stopped the game from ending. Double TPs available for the side of OMG. They're looking to end as well. What an insane turn of events. NIP in the winning position after just winning after such a hard game state. But now, Abel coming in after he reset, just killing everyone, acing them. And they're most likely going to take this Baron and Dragon that's spawning in 10 seconds.
Oh my god, NIP, they went for it. They TP'd in. They thought they could go for it. They do get almost everything, but not the Nexus. We're going to have a look at this fight right now, because again, look, they all grope in. They all have to try and stay together, and they get caught out just in the last second. Photic should just be hitting the Nexus, but he's just not able to do it.
Yeah, the Yone ultimate, although only landing onto one, but that zones everyone into the hands of PP God. Abel coming in and cleaning up on the Samira. Exactly what you are looking for as a Samira for those resets, as everyone was already 1 HP, but NIP definitely could have ended there. The distraction from OMG just made them come back in the game by the slightest once again.
Game number 2. It is still OMG very much on the back foot, you would imagine. There is a TP ward available, and OMG know if they let someone go in on top of this, they would be in a hell of a lot of trouble. They can't really leave their base with it being so low, and they are very aware of that situation right now. And we are at the point now where final items are being picked up. You've got full build here for Yone, full build here for the Caitlyn. You're not really getting any stronger, and gold is nice, but it doesn't really make that big of a difference at this stage in the game.
Look, OMG is dealing with an open Nexus, but what are they defending off? Baron has just been taken off the board. Dragon also going to the hands of OMG, so they don't need to leave base. NIP struggling to end the game now because they realistically have to look for a backdoor if they want to go for that cheese with the Tristana and something like the Elise, but this game state, OMG plays it smart and patiently, they can come back from this game state.
They can. They are trying to see what can work for them. It's just so difficult when you're so close yet so far away. Game state does stay as it is. No one's really going to be gaining or losing anything for the moment. That ward that was a potential TP into the base has now dissipated and will no longer be available. Third items for junglers. We very rarely get to this point in the game, as we now wait to see where this fight will really kind of kick off. And honestly, even a Cloud Soul at this point is not really going to be that big of a difference. I will say the extra passive movement speed for OMG, if they can stack it up, is very nice. Almost like having Swifties without having to buy Swifties. And already Abel picking up his third item, nearly going towards that Bloodthirsty. He's getting up to item parity alongside that Caitlyn. So this game is not over just yet. 37 minutes in, Pout picks himself up a blue buff. I kind of would have preferred to see that go onto the Lux, but you know what? I'm not on NIP, and I'm not here to judge.
I don't know how NIP is going to get a better 5v5 outside of that Baron pit. That was literally played perfectly from Pout, canceling Abel's ultimate that could have wiped the team. Now in this type of game say, although OMG can't face check anything because you have the threat of being backdoored, their 5v5 potential is so insane.
We'll wait. See where they want to try and go for. I don't expect to see a huge defense against this tower. Inhibitor in mid lane will be spawning back or in 45 seconds for OMG. They'll go back, they'll reset. Cosmic Overdrive going to be the final item here for Shanji. And Bloodthirster finished up here for Abel, so he is online. He is available to take on damage, and this is going to be interesting. Invincible may lose his ultimate here. Shanji will do a significant chunk on him if left to his own devices, but they know that not everyone's showing on the map, and they all back themselves away. It's tense, Kitty. It's getting real tense.
It's getting real tense. We need to do a bit of a flash check-in, though. OMG has that flash available on the top jungle and support for this next up-and-coming team fight. So the ADCs of NIP need to be extremely careful with how they position themselves, because you always need to remember Creme is going to follow up with that CC. Creme also picked up the Randuins here up against something like the Tristana and Caitlyn, so it's going to be pretty tough trying to kill this Yone in the team fight. However, it does seem like the inhibitor is back up for OMG, so they can reach their hands out just a little bit, although you can't make a single mistake at this point in the game.
No, you really can't. And You can see with the Squire's Blooms coming out here for NIP, they know that they just need to make sure they don't get caught out by a flank. They need to make sure that Creme or Shanji are not getting access to this backline for free without having to use stuff like their flashes to make sure they gain much out of this next fight. 57 seconds till the Dragon spawns, a minute 30 till the Baron. It is the calm before the storm. Everyone's kind of building up, and you can see an Elixir of Wrath being bought there for Abel. He knows that this could potentially be the final fight. This is going to be the... No point in picking up a half item. You get more value out of the Elixir than you would anything else, and this is almost certainly going to be it. Zhuo, he's getting hit, but he's got himself the Crown of the Shattered Queen. Creme doesn't go down. He actually ends up going back to the Soul Unbound. They will get an ult for an ult, and everyone backs away. No summoners burned just yet, and we're at a late stage of the game now, Kitty, where these ultimates are on minute cooldowns at max.
Yeah, Creme's ultimate already halfway done, but this next dragon is going to be the focus for both teams. But just look for the 5v5. Whoever gets the next ace is going to be able to win the game. But it really depends on if NIP is going to focus on the dragon first or killing everyone else.
I mean, OMG are able to get their ducks in a row. They're dealing with the minion waves. They know they're not going to lose out on that. Aki's going to maybe go for a bit of a steal. He goes in. He does not get it. He flashes out. So, souls confirmed here by NIP. They get themselves that objective. It is just a little bit of it was a 50-50. You can see OMG recognize it wasn't the be-all and end-all. What is the be-all and end-all is going to be this Baron, though, in 20 seconds' time.
And once again, Oshin, I think whoever wins the team fight, it doesn't matter if you get Baron. You just need to look for the clean ace. Both teams, I mean, they are up to their third tier towers where you can just straight up walk in and kill the Nexus. So OMG, I mean, they do have current vision control over the jungle. Shanji does also have that TP and flash available. You need to be very, very careful.
They're trying to force this. They're trying to force a TP here out of Pout, but Pout's already made himself out of the base and back in towards this pit. Half HP on the Baron, 8,000, 7,000. We can see it kind of ticking down. They get a good hit on the Photic, and they're going to force out the cleanse immediately. No, he just goes straight in. He does actually, he opens it, and they steal it. What is happening? OMG didn't know what they wanted to go for there. The Baron gets secured. Nobody fights because OMG didn't know what they wanted to do.
These junglers need to go practice their smiting on these Barons. Jesus Christ, why are there two stolen Barons in this game? NIP now back in the driver's position where this Caitlyn and Tristana are just going to play with the waves and really push in and suffocate the side of OMG.
But I think you're absolutely right with what you said. We'll have a quick look at the replay here, because again, you can see that it's a great ultimate here to kind of catch out Photic, but Photic calls the bluff and says, I'm not going to cleanse, I'm not going to use anything. And then while this is all happening, they just get XLB for free over the side, and oh, he smites it with, smites it with the Q and gets himself the confirm. So with this Baron, it will help, but I don't think it's going to do a lot, to be perfectly honest, to break up anything else that they haven't already done. So you're right, this game isn't going to change. The Baron went over, but it's not about the Baron, it's about the team fight, it's about who dies.
It is about who dies. I mean, we need to check that OMG, they do have a lot of those flashes available. The only one Aki had to burn that, trying to steal the 4th dragon, but NIP is definitely going to just suffocate the side of OMG by taking down this bot lane tier tower, but they can't ever go for a 4-4-1 because the amount of engage from OMG is insane.
It is ridiculous. They are going to land it there onto the Sion, take him down to about 4/5 of his HP. Still fine to keep moving forward on top of that as he does end up using his ultimate. And again, you're not going to gain a lot out of this. You can see the Baron doesn't mean a hell of a lot. It's about who dies. It's about who's able to kill who.
What are those traps?
I mean, they're traps.
Yeah, they're definitely traps. They're zoning traps for PP God, as he was just consistently trying to look for a flank onto the carriers of NIP, but you have to get through Invincible first, and he is so tanky at the 43-minute mark.
He is. Ooh, PP God getting hit there by a headshot. Creme looks for a fate unsealed. Gets absolutely nothing. That's going to be bot lane inhibitor broken open. The inhibitor in mid will be taken down as well. PP God almost deleted from this game. As we can see, Creme just using a little bit of pressure to try and make something work. They're trying to just pepper down this health bar, but Invincible is living up to his namesake. That's 2 inhibitors down. The Baron doing work, but it's only got 30 seconds left.
As long as the Nexus doesn't explode, the game is still winnable, O'Sheen.
They're looking for it. They're going to throw it out on the Photic, but he won't get hit by the ultimate from the Sejuani, and that could just be it. Creme tries to go in. He doesn't have his fate seal to make this one really work, and finally it looks like NIP trying to make this one work. Age not quite able to get themselves the Inferno trigger. That should just be the game. And that is enough for NIP to secure themselves a win in this series and tie us up at 1-1.
Everyone breathe, breathe, and once again breathe. Not the player, just physically breathe. That was probably one of the most insane games I've ever witnessed in LPL. 44 minutes, NIP able to just end the game after 2 Baron seals. I mean, this is going to a game 3, O'Sheen.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of calling into question as well the Samira pick. I feel like OMG, they kind of said, look, we're going to go for it. We're happy with it. We don't need anything else. And then all of a sudden, against Caitlyn Lux, it didn't do a lot. It was great answers coming out from NIP to really deal with that pick down the bot side. It never really got going. All the power of it in that one fight right at the end of the Nexus, nearly going down the first time. But it just isn't going to be able to do a lot against something like a Caitlyn Lux.
I mean, God bless that Xiaolongbao was able to pick up that